Hello, everyone, and welcome to Late Night with Cap. And this evening, we are live on a Wednesday, our monthly stream over here at Late Night with Cap, where we just talk about all kinds of the crazy mysteries, Bigfoots, Art Bell, and sometimes we have some good times with some guests. So yeah, tonight we're gonna step into some weird UFO, UAP, whatever you. I guess that's the new name is UAP. So UFO or UAP videos from the hearings that happened this week, which were pretty interesting. So we're gonna listen to some of those, and we'll just chat about that with our guests. And then we're gonna look over some other videos that some of the guests submitted that they want to talk about that could or could not be, maybe could be aliens. And then we have a special treat at the end. So if you wait till the end, we have some Area 51 calls from Art Bell. So you know we like Art Bell on this channel, so it should be fun. So get ready for that. But I have a couple guests tonight joining us. As always, I'm always excited to have this man on. He said he has a little powder of snow, and he's got to go to bed early. So hopefully he can stay on long enough to hang out with Art Bell, but he's got to get to work.
Good evening. I make no secret of the fact that I miss Art Bell. I really miss Art Bell. But with the UAP hearings, I wish he was here. I wish he was here
Yeah.
to be listening in and commenting and doing the like I knew it.
Yeah. We're gonna listen. We're not gonna listen to the whole hearing, but we are
Mhm.
going to like get. I got some highlights off of X that I think
Nice.
are kind of interesting. So we'll go over those, and then also he's been joining us on After the Weekend for quite a bit, the last couple weeks, months actually, since R2's been getting better in the hospital.
Mhm.
And this is Def Rowe. How you doing, man?
What's up?
Are you ready to talk about what are they now? UAPs, UFOs?
Mhm.
Like, well, I don't understand
Well,
the.
I think there's three terms now. There's UAP, USO, and UFO.
What's the USO?
Unidentified submerged object.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. All right.
we got Bone here. Good to see you. Greetings, humans. Yeah, good to see you. You're asking, are you sure we are human?
Yeah.
I don't know. You watch some weird movies, so I mean, you can be doing some research.
Well,
It's-
I'll talk about anything except for IOUs. So bring it on. Bring it on.
No IOUs for Jason. How have you? Before we get started on everything, what is your thought on all this UFO, UAP, alien? Did you all watch? Was that TV show back in the day? Was it? It wasn't Unsolved Mysteries. It was the other one, Sightings. Was it called Sightings back in the 90s?
uh,
Where like they would always talk about aliens, and it was really creepy. Had a really creepy beginning. It always gave me the goosebumps when I was a kid.
but there was quite a bit of those shows in the '90s actually.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Sightings or something like that, but always creepy. Well, it looks like Lambercy was going to join us tonight, but apparently he completely lost internet in his area. What do you think? Do you think that's something to do with what we're talking about?
Could be the tumblers.
Could be the tumblers.
Yeah.
It could be. Okay. Yeah, it could be. They just yep, lost in space. Yeah, Sightings. Okay, I remember watching that. Yeah, so Sightings was like this show that would come out just like a little bit like it was on Fox, but it was like Unsolved Mysteries, but it was way creepier, a little more edgier.
Are you guys old enough to remember In Search of with Leonard Nimoy?
Yeah, I think I remember that one.
I remember seeing reruns of it, but I didn't. But there was also a show with the guy from what's his name? The guy that plays Riker on Next Generation.
Yep. It was that Truth or
Yeah,
Truth or
Truth or
Dare?
Fiction or
Fiction.
something
Oh,
like
True
that.
or Fiction. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
always been kind of shows that kind of cover this stuff, right, over the years. Were you ever, when you watched those, were you a skeptic, or were you kind of like, oh yeah, that's totally like a real, like UFO?
It kind of depends.
Okay. It depends on what.
Do y'all remember that we used to have this wannabe newspaper, the Weekly World News,
Yeah.
and I compared it to that kind of, but
Okay.
some of it might have been real, but you're not really sure. No, you know, Bad Boy is probably not real, but still.
Bat Boy? Bat Boy?
You don't remember that?
Bad
No.
Boy, I believed in Bad Boy until they showed a picture of him with Elvis, and I'm like, oh wait a minute, I can't.
Bat Boy?
Some suspicious here.
Yeah,
I
man.
don't know. I don't know Bat Boy.
I used to beg my parents to get that newspaper when we went to the grocery store because it
remember
has the craziest stuff on the front of it.
I remember the Inquirer. That would have some weird stuff on it.
Weekly
Or the
World News is
Star.
like you take the Inquirer times 10. Like it was
Yeah.
outrageous.
And then there was the Star. Was it the Star or something like that? I can't remember, but I just remember going to the Circle K and like seeing like Bigfoot Mary's Loch Ness monster or something crazy. Nowadays, you see that kind of stuff on memes, right? On X. it's kind of funny. But,
Can't do that on Blue Sky.
No. Anyone remember Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World on the Discovery Channel? I think I do. I think I do. That sounds familiar. But yeah, I've always been fascinated with UFOs. Like, it could be something, right? It could be government, it could be a drone that we don't know about, or it could be back in the 50s and 60s, maybe they're just testing. Like, I always feel like the government's always a few years or 10 years ahead of us, like what we think we know we have, right? So
yeah, well, I'm sure we've had drones for a lot longer than they let us know about it.
Yeah, I mean, RC cars have been around forever, so I mean, maybe that was
there is the conspiracy theory that the push in physics towards string theory, which was intentionally like a dead end, was to keep mainstream physics going down this dead end, so that the real physics could continue on its regular path with the recovered vehicles, recovered technology. That's a really wacky conspiracy theory. But when you look at string theory being around for like 40 years and they still haven't put together a model.
You say it's but there's it's the Weinstein brothers. It's not Weinstein, but which one's the goes on there and talks with Joe Rogan a lot? Is it?
I think
Eric?
they both do.
Oh, they both do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of them had a huge conversation about the whole string theory thing, and he was of that opinion where it's like it's a nowhere. He said the reason is not what you think it is. It's because if you start going down the actual stuff that's real, it will lead you into the nuclear stuff, which will then end up being against government security clearance and all this other stuff. You're not going to be allowed to keep going, basically.
Well, I remember in Bill Cooper's Behold a Pale Horse, he's got like a whole chapter on, and this was back in the 90s when I read that. He's got a whole chapter saying, don't waste your money sending your kids to study physics, because what they're teaching is it's decoy physics. It's not real
physics.
Decoy physics. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Decoy physics. I think I'm going to say that next time I get in a speeding ticket or something.
Exactly.
This is decoy physics. Don't give me
sorry, Mr. Fuzz. Your radar gun is decoy physics.
Yeah, so you need to check the parameters on that thing.
Yeah, you're not fooling me with that decoy. Well, we weren't the only ones. We're not the only ones this week. We're talking about this. I know a lot. There were some live streams that was going on about the Congress reviewing what UAPs, exposing the truth. There was some hearing in Congress. There's always some hearing in Congress about something, and this time they were talking about this, and they had another gentleman a couple of years ago. I did a video a while back on this, where he said he kind of let some things out of the bag, and he was saying like, oh yeah, we know there's some type of spacecraft out there. We've discovered things, and so we're gonna give this a little summary of what happened. This is kind of from News Nation, so we're gonna listen to this, and they kind of like give you a briefing of like what was expected at the hearings, and then we'll go over some other highlights.
A topic that's moved from the fringes to the mainstream. Unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, better known to most of us as UFOs. You've got government officials, military experts, and even some whistleblowers who are expected to testify, including 3 who first broke their stories exclusively to us here at News Nation over the course of the last year. News Nation's Joe Khalil is in Washington with the latest ahead of today. Joe, good morning to you. What are you expecting from this hearing, and what kind of testimony are we about to get?
What we're expecting, Marky, is sort of building on the hearing.
Everybody talks in this hallway.
I know. What's the deal?
That happened last year, focused on this very topic, on this UAP issue. And you're seeing more and more members of Congress consider this a serious issue that's a national security topic.
But you say decoy, right? What you think people in Congress would already know this information?
Some of them do. So Cap, I got to correct you. You said that everybody talks in that hallway. Mitch McConnell doesn't.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Yeah, he freezes up.
I think there's probably an additional physics, and let's just call it the plausible deniability physics, where they don't want to, when people go to Congress, they just got to keep them off their back and keep the money flowing. So I think they show them some things, but not the real physics, just enough to make it so they're like, oh man, you're right. We better keep giving you money to research this.
Yeah. It's kind of like when, what was that movie? Like Independence Day, when the president didn't even know they had, those aliens down the ground. Like, you knew all about this all along, right?
Last year, we heard for the first time people who were under oath, former military officials, saying that they feel the government is aware of technology that is not of human origin. That really shook a lot of people. If you haven't heard that claim before, that is an absolutely bombshell claim to make under oath in front of Congress. And we're going to hear similar things later on today.
So I don't know if you remember, there's been a lot of whistleblowers, right, that have come out and said, like, I took this video, or I was flying as a jet pilot, and this, tic-tac looking thing was flying right next to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just continuing on. It's like, it seems like every other year we get something like this, where some whistleblower wants to kind of explain what's going on. And one of those guys today his name is Lou. I'm going to probably butcher this. Lou Lazindo, I think is his name.
Oh, Louis. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah.
You can't even say it.
No, Lou Elizondo.
Elizondo.
I saw his Rogan interview.
Right. So we're gonna listen. He kind of introduces himself here and what he's about this. And this is Miss Mace here. She's the chairwoman that's listening to him.
Greetings, Chairwoman Mace, Chairman Grothman, ranking members Connolly and Garcia, and members of the committee. It is my honor and privilege to testify before you on the issue of unidentified anomalous phenomenon, formerly known as UFOs. On behalf of our brave men and women in uniform.
Okay, so that's what that means. Okay. I couldn't remember what the A meant.
I thought it was aerial, but
yeah,
okay.
I did too. I thought it was aerial myself.
Why do you think they changed it? Was it kind of like global warming versus?
I think well, UFO was the first way to dismiss it, and then UFO got popularized, and so they're trying to destigmatize it.
Okay.
Trying to destigmatize, and then
another decoy.
Exactly. Well, it just this was so it was before it was like, sorry, Mr. Farmer, you saw a UFO. And now they're like, okay, we're getting the point. We're getting the point. We're
That's
getting the
pretty
point.
good.
We need to be serious. We need to be serious. This is serious.
He has got
Let's talk about
look at all the
UAPs.
serious. Yeah, look at all the serious people behind him though. They are
Yeah.
pretty serious.
Yeah, there's
Look
no
at the
chicks.
camera guy.
Yeah.
Look at the camera guy.
Why is that one guy got a little look on his face right over his shoulder there? Like,
I don't
hey,
know. I
man.
think he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
And across the intelligence community, as well as my fellow Americans who have awaited this day, thank you for your leadership on this important matter. Let me be clear. UAP are real. Advanced technologies not made by our government or any other government are monitoring sensitive military installations around the globe. Furthermore, the U.S. is in possession of UAP technologies, as are some of our adversaries. I believe we are in the midst of a multi-decade secretive arms race, one funded by misallocated taxpayer dollars and hidden from our elected representatives and oversight bodies. For many years, I was entrusted with protecting some of our nation's most sensitive programs. In my last position, I managed a special access program on behalf of the White House and the National Security Council. As such, I appreciate the need to protect certain sensitive intelligence and military information. I consider my oath to protect secrets as sacred, and I will always put the safety of the American people first.
So you think he's going to tell the truth today, or he's just kind of glance over?
I think he's up on the up and up. So he was brought in to be to lead the UTIP research project, and he got stonewalled. He found some stuff. He got some stuff declassified, but then when he wrote his book, he had to have everything cleared.
Mm-hmm.
So so I trust this guy. I trust this guy. What do you think?
I think I do, because from some of the other stuff I watched earlier. That we'll show here. He seems pretty honest what he's saying, and what he believes in, and like he's trying to tell people that which makes sense, right? If we capture something that was flying around and we captured it, we would probably want to know what the heck it was, how it worked. I mean, that would make sense to me. I don't think that would be. I guess the real big concern is like, okay, do you know where this came from? Right? Is it from some other government? Is it from some other world? Is it like something else? What do you think, Daph?
Well, I mean, just like anything else, he was stonewalled for the one obvious reason. It's always a matter of national security. That's always going to be it. Either whether it comes to physics or it comes to UFOs, UAPs, doesn't matter what it is. It's always a matter of national security. Why you cannot know it, and you shouldn't let anybody else know it.
What do you, in your mind, what is the threshold, or what's the event at which they have to say, okay, we're going to tell you everything now? Is that an attack? Is that something landing? When do you think they completely spill the beans completely? What do you think?
That's a hard one, because the way our media is so propagandized these days, it could land on our front lawn and they would tell us it was somebody that
well, I always refer to.
Imagine they come down and Biden wobbles out.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like take me to your leader. Like, oh.
Hey, Goose, you big stud!
That's me, honey.
Take me to bed or lose me forever.
I mean, seriously, when you think about it, they got half the population of America thinking that somebody is hit. The HITLER word.
Yeah.
When you got that many people who actually believe that crap, what else are they going to do?
Sometimes I always refer to movies in some way, because movies are always written by someone who like thinks how an event would happen, and they do kind of embellish it, like we all do. We all embellish stories, but like one movie I think that was always kind of accurate on how the nation would probably act is the movie Signs. They started creeping in. If you all remember, that's the movie where the aliens come in. And they hide them pretty well in that movie, but like you start hearing whispers like they saw something in Mexico, and the news did show it, and they're like, we don't know what this is, and then it finally gets to their neighborhood, and he's like, oh yeah, this is pretty real, and they don't list. The news is gone, right? Because they started already So once the news is gone and you start seeing those oddball things in your neighborhood, then I can probably be like, something squirrely is going on. It's almost like zombies too,
So something I think about is that when you consider the distances that need to be traversed just to get here, if they're sending probes or whatever, what's the ROI on them like destroying us, right? There's no ROI.
No,
because of the distance. So I think if anything, I'm hoping that when they finally make their presence known, they're
the only
gonna
way they would destroy is if they're looking for their own survival, right? Like a resource or something. That's what I think a lot of sci-fi does too. Is like, you've got this energy that we need, and we need it.
Well, that goes back to the whole thing with the the whole theory behind the Anunnaki and the gold that they were coming down here for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even like ancient civilizations have said people have visited them and it could, what? To them, it could have just been the Vikings, right? And they're like, where do these people come from? These big, crazy looking ships. That. But again, it could be very well. Did you all remember the movie Alien Nation or the show Alien Nation?
Yeah. Yes.
That could happen where they're just
yeah.
hey, can we live here?
Yep.
No.
Yeah, go to Springfield, Ohio, right?
Can you imagine if Beard of Liberty's not on tonight? He's off tonight. But could you imagine if Alien Nation was real life for him? He would be like. Even though he's not on in spirit. Yeah. So there were some questions that were asked to Lou. One was if they have they recovered biological, so maybe they've discovered like artifacts or a ship. But the big question was, is there some type of have they discovered? And we always heard rumors from like Roswell, right? That UFO crash and they collected bodies. I wonder. I always wondered if we've always. And in Independence Day, that's where they said those one aliens came from was Roswell. So here we go.
In the discussions, it's simply about material, or is there discussion about It was previously testified that there was biologics that were collected. Are you aware of any of that?
I am, sir, aware of the reporting that biologics have been recovered. Again, my focus was more nuts and bolts, looking at the physical aspects of these phenomenon, how they interacted around military equities and nuclear equities. So I'm certainly not a medical expert. I would not be able to probably provide you a whole lot of value in that simply because I don't have the expertise.
But was anything described as that we have possession of bodies?
Yes.
We have is it multiple types of creatures or?
Sir, I couldn't answer that. I can tell you anecdotally that it was discussed quite a bit when I was at the Pentagon. The problem is the supposed collection of these biological samples occurred before my time. In fact, before I was even born.
And was this part of the Lockheed Martin discussion, or was this the biologics is a completely separate?
Separate yet related.
Okay. Has anyone made contact?
Sir, I'm sorry. Could you specify?
Has there been any, to your knowledge, any communication with a non-human life form?
So the term communication is a bit of a trick word because there's verbal communication like we're having now. The problem is you also have nonverbal communication. And so I would say definitively yes, but from a nonverbal meaning, when a Russian reconnaissance aircraft comes into U.S. airspace, we scramble 2 F-22s, and we are certainly communicating intent and capability. I think the same goes with this. We have these things that are being observed over controlled U.S. airspace, and they're not really doing a good job hiding themselves. They're making it.
Yeah, so I mean,
I like his answers actually. I mean, he's pretty spot on.
I mean, he's telling somewhat of the truth without telling exactly the truth, right? He's saying, like, look, if something came into our airspace, it could be Russian, it could be from outer space. We're definitely going to scramble to find out what's going on.
Yeah, we're basically telling the aliens F around and find out. you know. But then we get there and it's like, oh crap, these guys got something better than us.
So here's my theory on the biological thing, right? So when you
Okay.
consider the distances, and the time to travel and stuff like that, I don't the biologicals, and this is just what I think. The biologicals that are on the crafts, they're not the real aliens. They're synthetic stand-ins. Because think about it this way. If you have a mechanical joint, right? And it's moving back and forth, there's wear and tear, it breaks down. It has to be maintained. Organic things, if they're built correctly, can last 100 years, right? I mean, you could be 100 years old and still move your arm back and forth. So here's my theory is that they send these ships to do discovery, but they breed and create these or maybe they 3D print these quote unquote biological things that are small and don't need like a lot of food and are sentient and are kind of like remote controlled. And so that's my theory and that's why I think the Greys look like the Greys is because they're basically if you're a bunch of scientists on another planet, you say, okay, give me a minimal viable product, synthetic humanoid. Okay, it's got to have a head, the fingers, and doesn't need like a lot of musculature, but it's so simple and it's so and it can move and it won't wear out. It won't wear out. It doesn't need a lot of energy. That's my theory. I could be completely wrong, but as I kind of like think about this, I think that's what it is.
And
the
chat,
printer ran out of ink.
That's right.
And chat, you are all welcome to submit your own thoughts on all this.
Well, and I think a lot of people think like he's thinking because even in a comedy show, and I have to bring this up because what he just said is exact episode of I don't know. You ever watch Red Dwarf?
Yeah.
Red Dwarf has an episode where they find a ship that has a big ass printer on it, and they print the crew out.
Okay.
And one of the crew members gets messed up because the printer gets a jam. And
nice.
I mean, I can see that because we right now we don't do that, but we send robots, like to Mars, right?
Or like Surrogates, the movie with Bruce Willis.
That's a creepy movie.
But
I
hey,
have not seen that one.
They're basically like in a little pod thing, and they're controlling this body outside their house.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, Jason, if something was doing that. I mean, we've seen science fiction movies do that, and books and comics. So it wouldn't surprise me. That makes sense though, because like you don't know the environment, right? And this thing could probably live in the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone who said they've been taken, right, or seen or come across these beings, they all look the same. Now, there are a theory of people have said that on the other side of this, that people are having like a really deep dream and they see these faces with dark eyes and kind of like oval shaped heads that look sort of like humans, but they're remembering what they have seen when they were babies. Because when you don't really remember when you're like 0 to probably 1, right? You don't really have a lot of memories. And a lot of people say like these are like deep dreams that you're just remembering seeing like your dad like coming in like, hey, picking you up, and it's like all bright because you can't see because your eyeballs haven't developed. Some people have, on the skeptic side have said that's what people could be thinking they're seeing, but this has nothing to do with what you see in the sky. That's a completely different.
I think that has a lot to do with the theory of night terrors too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
where because you have these entities just show up out of the blue and stand at your bed and just do weird
think
shit.
about it. If you actually think about that, I know all three of us have kids, so like if you're and you don't remember this when you're a kid, but you go in your kid's room when it's dark and you're like, what are you doing? You're like, why are you up? Or something. We've all done that. So but who knows? So there's another clip I want to show. this was just him just more talking about what he knows, or what does he not want to tell us that he knows. So
Government conducted secret UAP crash retrieval programs, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, were they designed to identify and reverse engineer alien craft, yes or no?
Yes.
Does the U.S. government have any reverse, okay, we've already answered that question about retrieval programs. Do any U.S. contractors have the same?
I would prefer to address that in a closed session, ma'am.
that's
Okay.
weird, right?
In your book, you mentioned
Well, because he doesn't want to name the companies, because then they're going to get swarmed, and he could get sued for defamation or whatever,
Yeah, he could. Yeah.
government
or jeopardize.
injured by UAPs, placed on leave and receiving government compensation for their injuries. Is that correct?
That is correct.
How can the government deny we have recovered craft if they're paying people because they've been injured by recovered craft?
Ma'am, that's a great question. That's why I think we're here again, because I've seen the documentation by the U.S. government for several of these individuals who have sustained injuries as a result of a UAP incident.
Now he said there's incidents that he was aware of that were before he was around.
Mhm.
Like, so like that could be the 50s, 60s.
Roswell.
I'm guessing this guy's probably in his 50s, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if you look back to that era, they were doing a lot of nuclear bomb testing too. And they could just easily mark that off as a, hey, yeah, he got, radiation sickness from being in this area at this time, and not even have to mention the UFO stuff.
Right. And in Roswell, they thought it was like a balloon.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, the government was testing weather balloons.
Yeah.
They were doing that. Another clip I have is a different gentleman. This is Mr. Schellenberger. He's been interviewed a few times before. He's showing like this documentation that's literally just like if someone took a like black marker,
Yep, redacted,
and completely removed it. So here we go.
The metadata can be removed. I'll show you this example here. This is a presentation from the UATP task force. This is completely absurd. It's nuts. This level of censorship, of redaction on a document.
Look at that.
Shows the redaction of how many.
it's
Look at Mr. Gold. He's like, bro, that's my
somebody could have been a real butt about it. It just gone in there and just like left the ands and the a's in there,
or left left one. They just left the phrase Hunter Biden in the middle of it. Like everything else is blacked out.
God, this is crazy. Like who does that kind of stuff? Our government
reports
does.
They've collected for how many years? 2 of the 3 potential explanations are blacked out. The Pentagon, the intelligence community is treating us like children. It's time for us to know the truth about this. I think that we can handle it. Thank you very much.
Now, that's a good question that he says there at the end. Do you think the American people, even the world, could handle this information if this were to get out?
If it's aliens and they've been coming here for like a long time, I think we can handle it. If the real answer is that we have our former, our past presidents, past leaders have signed a treaty with the Gorgon Empire that at the that in the year 2050 they're going to annex us and we're all going to become slaves, and then I don't think we can handle it.
Yeah. Just a reminder, everyone, there is a poll in the chat. So far, it's 100%. Do you believe government's hiding UFO evidence? So there is a poll out there. So far, it's out of 11 of you.
Well, see, the only problem with the whole, becoming slaves theory is we have certain politicians and certain, brainiacs of sorts that are trying to depopulate the earth right now. So that kind of goes against.
Well, what if that's part of the agreement? The agreement.
Are you trying to hurt my feelings? Because if so, you are succeeding. Fortunately, my feelings regenerate at twice the speed of a normal man's.
That was the deal.
We're not all serious here, folks. We do. And by the way, if you think we're cool and you like what we're talking about, make sure you tune. Thumbs up. Because Chuck Norris said so. Yeah, I have a feeling there would be panic. First, there would be like confusion. What? then they would really set in like, oh, this is real. And then you would get a lot of people who would panic because some of their most idealist religious views would be completely skewed.
Well,
so
from the religious standpoint, a lot of the there are several different religions that believe that these aren't really aliens; they're just demons
or angels. Yeah, that type of deal. Yeah. So some people could be okay with it, but
so they might not. You know.
Do you remember the scene in Independence Day when everybody stood on top of the building and they're like, "Take me"?
Just a barbecue.
And that was like when I was a kid. I was when that came out. I was really young.
You know what that scene reminded me of? You know what that scene reminded me of? From Independence Day, it reminded me of the old bug zappers that you have on the back porch.
Oh,
because they were going towards the light that was fisting to kill them, and they were like, "Oh, it's take me with you." Then, sorry, that's a bad way to look at it.
No, you're okay. But I just remember that from the movie, like people were so excited to talk to these aliens. They brought out signs, stood on top of a building, and were thinking that everything was going to go okay. And you know what's interesting about that movie? I don't know. We have no idea if it's realistic or not. When they came in our atmosphere, it was very strategic, right? They went to our high populated areas. That's what I think that's why I liked that movie as far as like this could really happen. They went to our populated areas because they knew where our most populated areas were all over the world. And then they all did the same thing at one time because they knew if they did Russia first, we would react right away. Right. So the fact that they did it all at once, I think that could be a theory that could be happen.
Well, and one of the things that have come out in the UAP hearings are that these things buzz military bases. They hover over military bases. So there might be something to it.
And they knew that in the movie Independence Day. They even showed that too. I always refer to that movie. I'm sorry, I don't mean to always refer to that movie. It's just there was some aha moments. Like, yeah, I think that could happen.
There's actually footage out there of UAPs flying in and around rocket launches and messing them up before they can.
We're gonna listen to some Art Bell later, and he said things would buzz around him all the time. It could be anything, he said. This was kind of a funny moment. Things did get a little testy with these individuals.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moskowitz. And I would now, committee staff asked me to go ahead and I will do it, to enter into the congressional record this 12-page document that Michael Schellenberger brought today that describes the Immaculate Constellation government program. So we will do that now. Every member up here has a copy of it. The first section talks about the unacknowledged special access program called Immaculate Constellation. And the second section about USG imagery intelligence. And Representative Luna just told me if I say Immaculate Constellation, I'll be on some list, maybe a FISA warrant. So come at me, bro, I guess. But okay, thank you, Mr. Moskowitz.
I thought that was funny. I thought that was funny. She was like, I don't care if I'm on some list.
Yeah.
She's a feisty young
yeah.
Yeah, she is. So there's another clip here where he says they tracked a UAP up to like 3,000 G forces. So
whoa.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's
holy
high.
cow.
So he's sorry, I had it shared, but then and Miss Luna, Representative Luna is talking here. So
Mr. Elizondo, in regards to
she's the one that was there in the MAGA bathing suit.
Whatever they biologics, would you agree that it's likely that they are being piloted by some mind-body connection?
Ma'am, I think it is safe to presume here that they are being intelligently controlled because some cases seem to anticipate.
Do you notice the guy in glasses on his left? He's always staring at him. Now, he could be either listening to him, I could just be completely going crazy.
I want to know who the one is with the white hair behind him.
Do you think maybe that guy with the glasses is making sure that guy's not saying anything?
It could be. Yeah, he's ready to take the blow dart.
Yeah.
Well, you see the guy that's looking at the guy with the glasses.
Yeah.
He's the CIA handler for the FBI guy who's the handler for.
And I think the guy on the right with the fancy tie, and remember, Jason, we had that stream where we talked about time travel.
Oh yeah,
that dude's from a different time period.
Yeah.
Armed maneuvers, and in other cases they seem to. I came across an email where the word "stalked" was used in a very secure email between Navy officers discussing their ships being pursued by a UAP.
In our previous panel, we had Grush, and he had testified to say that some of these were interdimensional beings. Can you speak on that at all?
Ma'am, I'm not qualified. I'm certainly as a scientist
Who's qualified
or
for that?
otherwise to speculate points of origin. I looked at everything from a
Geometry
scientific perspective.
So he was saying they're saying that like interdimensional. So they're in a different dimension and they're hopping around.
They're coming down from the fourth and fifth dimension down to the third dimension, and that's
Like
how they're
Thor.
popping in. Yeah, like Thor. Yeah,
Like Thor. If you want to
Yeah.
go comic related, it's like Thor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep, Doctor Strange. Hey, that guy on the far right with the tie. I think that's the tie that Monica Lewinsky gave to Bill Clinton.
Oh, okay.
I think he's wearing it. He's wearing it to send a message.
Got a lot of DNA on it, right?
Wow.
Acceleration, which was one of the observables of the program that I belong to, ATIP. The human body can withstand about 9 G forces for a short period of time before you suffer negative biological consequences, blackouts and ultimately redouts and even death. Comparison, our best technology, the F-16, which is this older platform, but one of our most highly maneuverable aircraft, manned aircraft, made by General Dynamics, can perform about 17 or 18 G forces before you start having structural failure, meaning that the airframe begins to disintegrate while you're flying.
Yeah.
The vehicles we're talking about are performing in excess of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Gs.
That's crazy.
So are you, I guess, would it be safe to infer that they're living craft?
I'm not prepared at this point to state for the record is something alive or not, because even that definition is hard. There was a time in science we thought that life required oxygen, and we now know that's not true. There are anaerobic bacteria that thrive in oxygen.
And he's true. That's true. Now there was a video captured by a Navy pilot where he saw the Tic Tac and it kind of floated and then it just kind of like shot off. That's kind of what he's describing here. It's like it just goes super fast.
Yep.
So,
hey, do either of you? I know what a blackout is. Do either of you know what a redout is? What's that mean?
I think a redout is when you you're not out, but all you see is red. Like you're just
okay. Okay. All right. I'm afraid to Google it, but okay.
See, red.
I'm not let Def do it. He's got his own video store. He's probably got a documentary on it back there.
He's already on the Immaculate Conception list.
Yeah. Now the whistleblower, Lou, sorry. He did go on right after this. He did go on Chris Cuomo's show.
Okay.
I hate to show his video, but
he's coming around.
He's coming around, but he was on. He did do a quick interview. We're going to listen to a little bit of that.
Military intelligence and counterintelligence officer Luis Elizondo joins us now. Thank you for making your witness today. I want the audience to know you're also author of Imminent: Inside the Pentagon's Hunt for UFOs. Well, thank you for being with us.
Chris, thank you so much for having me.
So were you worried about what you were going to say today?
Yeah, absolutely. But I got to say, Chris, I think this was really a historic day for both Congress and for the American people. I think it was a win-win. This is now the second hearing on this topic that's been open to the public. And hopefully the public is now getting an understanding of how long our government has actually been involved in this topic despite decades of denial?
I would say they've known probably since we've been for a while, for before we were flying. Would you say yes on that?
I don't know about that. I know that there were the Foo Fighters for sure during World War II, and then I know there was obviously Roswell. If
So you don't think ancient American government, like in the 1800s, the sailors didn't see something or know of something potentially?
I thought you meant like the government. No, I think people have been seeing stuff in the sky, and I think that if these I think that with the point at which the human race was able to detonate nuclear weapons, I think that was the point at which the aliens said, "Okay, we got to watch these punks before we got to watch these punks, keep an eye on them, determine if they're going to be troublemakers or if they're going to use this wisely."
Right.
But in terms of in history, yeah, I think that they, if they're here now, they were here in the past. What they did, we talked to, I don't know. But the U.S. government, I don't see Abe Lincoln. I don't see them coming down and talking to Abe Lincoln.
Maybe he was one.
Could be.
So, look, the pushback is they're no little green men. They don't have a spaceship from outside our solar system. All of these types of videos that I'm showing right now can be explained. Well, then what are they finding? This is what you did. And you're risking your reputation to come forward and speak what you say is the truth. So what do they know?
Well, Chris, first of all, I'm risking more than my reputation. I'm risking my security clearance and my ability to even earn a living.
He's right about that. I've heard some really crazy stories, like if guys start whistleblowing government information.
Yeah, you're not really protected like you should be.
I think it's important to know that we have absolutely been able to confirm the existence of some sort of technology that has the ability to operate with anonymity within our controlled U.S. airspace, operate over our sensitive military installations, and possibly interfere with our nuclear equities. Now, if that's not a national security concern, I don't know what is.
Yeah, he's right about that. If they're looking at our nuclear stuff, I think that would be a little worrisome.
Yeah, I mean, what else are they going to be here for? I mean, especially when they're hanging around at all the bases.
They're here for your video rentals, Def. They want to rent your videos. They can't find you.
I have too many documentaries on the truth.
They want to get a card. They just want a Def Rowe video card. That's really all they want.
But I do know what a readout is now, though.
Oh, you did? What is it?
Lay it on us.
All right. The readout is actually when the blood, it's a negative G-force thing. It's actually when the blood rushes to the head versus the blood rushing from the head.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So you don't see red at all. I was completely wrong.
Mm.
Okay. Well. Well, it happens. I guess if you were hanging upside down as a kid, you might get a red eye.
Yeah.
Now, Def Rowe, okay, so from the hearings, what do you think? Do you think that was a lot of this BS and, there's more decoys? Or we're going to put this guy out here? Or do you think he's really being honest and this is all real?
Yeah, I mean, I think he was just trying to put something out there just to show that he did work on this. Because in a lot of cases, and I know this from experience, just to put it that way, your work will go unnoticed and buried for a long period of time especially if you work for the government.
Yeah.
I mean, they will just act like you were never there, pretty much.
Right.
So I can understand why he was doing what he's doing and doing the book and everything else. It's like, hey, I really did this. I was really here. I really saw these things. And they're gonna act like you don't exist. So
yeah. Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that I've watched the Rogan interview with him. I've seen him do some other interviews. I believe him.
Okay, I believe him too. I think there's like there's always something to something to believe in. There's like some truth to everything, right? So he's got to be talking about something. So he couldn't. It's unfortunate he couldn't say a lot of it, but maybe the new president will unlock some secrets.
Yep.
Now, Def, you shared a video with me when you knew we were going to talk about this topic, and you thought this was a kind of a crazy video to share on the show. Do you want to kind of like describe it, like before I show like where you found it and what?
Well, I was first made aware of it from the Netflix show that just dropped this in the last week or so, I believe. And it's called Investigation Alien. It has, hold on, I'll tell you his name. I had it up here just a second. George Knapp, which is like a journalist that investigates all this stuff. He meets up with Jeremy Corbell. I don't know if I'm saying the name right, but he's the one that gets this information from his sources in the military. And this is the video right here that he is showing everybody. But I'll give you more information about what he says in the new series that came out. But if anybody wants to watch it, it's episode 3 called Alien Waters on the Netflix series, Investigation Alien. And this is called The Jellyfish.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have a question here. How many dimensions are there? I believe many, and those we can see or enter. What do you all think? I don't know. I don't know if there's a lot of us. I think we have. I don't know.
It's 31.
31.
I mean, there are theories that Bigfoot is going in and out of dimensions, which is why he's blurry all the time.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Or he could just be ginger too.
Yeah. This thing's a little blurry. Let's look at this.
It's in thermal. It was filmed on a weapons platform. You see that there's a dog there. See the animal.
Oh yeah, I do see a dog.
Animals are black. I'm assuming this is black hot. You see the object just went to white, and you'll see it going from white to black, and that's basically showing the heat differential. So it's going like
Predator. Maybe Predator.
Hot and cold, hot and cold. The problem was the optics platform was jammed. These individuals who target with these platforms, they can shoot out an Al-Qaeda tire at 27 miles away, but not being able to lock it was one of the first signs that something's weird. I was able to find direct eyewitnesses and corroborate that this event did happen. When individuals would target in on it.
So he's saying, okay, so I'm trying to get this correct. So he's on there's a sniper or somebody on a platform, and this thing comes scrolling through the military base, and he's trying to shoot it down, but he can't. Is that what I'm getting?
Okay. They can't get a lock on it. Like it's not even there.
Right.
It's
with
weird.
The optics, the way it was described, each of these hanging things, they were stiff, like they weren't moving. They had geometric form, like scales.
You know what kind of looks like? Like Crane. Remember Crane from like Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
Or remember Empire Strikes Back? There's the
the
droid.
Maybe someone's got a really fancy toy of that. Yep. Yeah. This guy has a really nice bottle of something on his desk. Do you see that? It's either whiskey or something.
Oh, it's just a decanter.
There's something in it though.
Yeah, he probably put something cheap in there to make it look cool.
It was said to be scales like an armor. There were also people with night vision.
He also has a gun safe.
Who were out and they were tasked to go look for it. Couldn't see it on the night vision. Only in the thermal spectrum could it be seen.
It is kind of weird looking.
Yeah.
But anything that looks like that appears to have a payload, that's a big deal. It could be dangerous. So these are high priority. But what happened is there were a couple other nations involved, and the feeds were just shut immediately. So that put me on high alert too. Why is it completely being shut down? But that's not all it did.
George is in the chat.
Hey, George Lucas.
George.
Was this one of your things?
George, you need to come out of retirement, George. They need you.
No, he doesn't.
It goes out over a body of water. I'm told it stops on a dime, descends into the water, stiff into the water.
Ooh.
And for 17 minutes, nothing. And boom, this thing comes up out of the water and shoots off at 45 degrees.
Aquaman.
Well, some things he leaves out in this, he says in the TV show. But it was there on the base, looking at the most sensitive areas of the base for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to share the X post in the chat. There's a Tubi TV link in there where you can, I think, watch the full episode. So whoever wants to look at that.
Yeah.
That was kind of creepy looking.
Yeah.
It reminded me of a drone.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it was a China or no, I don't want to, Russian, China, some other North Korean drone that was flying through, and it just kind of went.
Do you guys remember
base.
There was the footage in Iraq of the metal sphere. The metal sphere that was going through the city, and they caught it and they kept it in camera, and that thing was just like a sphere. It didn't have these appendages hanging down. But that was that thing looked like solid. It looked like it was metallic.
Yeah, it was weird.
This thing looks like it's a type of creature of some sort.
Yeah, it was like
a squid.
Yeah, but it also looked kind of mechanical, like it moved.
But it's wild because there's no plume. There's no plume behind it. There's no.
And the dogs didn't react to it.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that.
The dog was just like, my dog, when a bird flies over it, freaks out.
Well, the other thing too is the heat signature that keeps changing on it.
Yeah, it was almost like it was hiding itself so the dogs couldn't see it.
Well, if you modulate the heat signature so many times that they just don't see it at all, it becomes static. Maybe.
So, I have something else I would like to share. It's kind of interesting. This one's called the Swarm. And these are hold on, let me make sure that I got it set up right. But there's two glowing orbs that were hovering and moving together in unusual patterns. But some skeptics say UFOs may simply be flares. They say this. This is from a 10-minute video near a Afghan. This was from a 10-minute video from an Afghanistan military base, withstanding a missile strike without damage. So this is what I'm gonna share here. So here we go. There's no sound. It's just that was a missile. It hit it.
Whoa. Holy cow.
So that black thing that you saw was, this is all under some type of lighting, but yeah, like what are these things floating? And it literally looks like what you showed me.
Yep.
Rowe. And then here's some other stuff they caught at the base. This reminds me of the lights in Phoenix. Very weird. I was a kid when that happened, and it was very weird. I mentioned this before on the show. It's very strange, but look at these things. They look literally on this type of view, this light. Well, I can't remember what this is, but it literally looks like what you showed us. Isn't that crazy?
Well, and it kind of leads to the interdimensional thing, because if they're shifting in and out of the dimensions and something tries to hit it, what's not to say that it's got a defense mechanism where it just shifts back in and then shifts back out.
Right.
When that object comes towards them.
Yeah, it's just very strange. Well, before we get to the Art Bell stuff, Jason, I know you're going to get a kick out of this. We haven't done one of these in a long time, but I found if we were going to travel the universe,
yes,
three of us, I found our vehicle.
Yes, I would draw that.
It's not really a bad design, but it's a bad design. Like this would be the most epic, I think, road trip of all time if we were to get a hold of this van. One is an A-team van with the Encounters of the Third Kind poster art on it.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get Richard Dreyfuss to go on the road trip with us, though.
When I saw this, I literally was very excited to show you all, and it was awesome.
That would make an awesome comedy movie. Somebody in a van like that, and they kidnap Richard Dreyfuss and try to drive him out there.
Yeah, it's kind of like Zombieland. It is an awesome van. I mean, even it's got the exhaust on the side there. Shelby, it looks like some type of Shelby engine.
It might be because it says something by Shelby. It might be the artist that did the painting.
Oh, you don't think that's stocked with the Shelby GT?
No.
Okay, I just wanted to show you all that if we were to ever go on a road trip looking for UAPs, that would be our vehicle.
Perfect.
One other thing real quick before we get into the Art Bell video, and I wanted to let everyone know that even though Lambertsy's not here and he had some issues with his internet, he did something nice the other day. If you want to get your own Late Night with Cap tumbler,
very cool.
Yeah, you can actually go out and buy one of these. It helps out the channel. It helps out Lambertsy and his little side hustle. But you could definitely get one. He'll ship it to you. And look, he even added a mat, like a desk mat. Look at this.
Nice.
So you can get this for your computer. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So I'm really bummed that he's not on here tonight. But this one kind of looks like a game show channel. Like,
yeah, it does. Yeah, that was.
Like I'm gonna like.
Wait,
play,
when you become a millionaire, you're not going to tell anybody, but we'll know. We'll know, right?
Yeah.
He's got a lot of cool stuff.
We'll get a bunch of his stuff in the mail.
Yeah, I'll put that in the chat there. He literally just got it all set up, but I just wanted to share that out to everybody. But yeah, he he's so excited. He's doing a very good job on this site, by the way. He has a lot of cool stuff out there. And I'm hoping that a lot of this takes off for him because he does really work hard on it. I wish he was here to talk about it, but
he's working while he's live streaming. He's like,
I know he's literally printing tumblers. Why he's on air? So very cool.
He is his own sweatshop.
That's right.
Yes. You are absolutely correct. He is his own sweatshop. You are absolutely correct. So, real quick though, like I said, I ended the poll in the chat, but it was basically, do you think the government? And it was like 100% all the way. So I do appreciate you all doing that. So let's go ahead and jump into our special recording. Now, the day that these UAP hearings came out, the Art Bell archive channel out there, coast to coast, put out some clips of what Art Bell has talked about over all the years. Some of us we listened to one long time ago where the frantic Area 51 caller says he's being chased, right? And then some people say that's a hoax, and some people say it was really real. But he had a lot of people call in because he lived right there about that. So I grabbed two of them that were kind of interesting to me. They literally talked about they talked about the Greys, and one of them is an employee apparently who worked there for 15 years, and it was too short to capture. But there was a time on one of Art Bell's times where an employee called. He's like, "Hey, I got 3 questions for you. If you really want to know if they work at Area 51, you ask them this: what color is the third door on the right when you first come in from the cafeteria?" It's like, what Bell's not gonna ask him that question, bro? Like,
yeah, I'm not gonna remember that.
Who's the secretary that works on the 5th floor?
Yeah, what color is the urinal cake inside the bathroom?
Who took a number 2 in the second stall on Thursday at 9 p.m.? You know, like, come on, man. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna listen to some of these, and I hope you will listen to them and talk about them as well.
On the first-time caller line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, I'm on the air.
You are on the air.
Is this whine coming from your end or my end?
I beg your pardon?
Do you hear a high-pitched whine on your end?
I do hear a high-pitched whine, yes.
I think I'm being traced up front, okay?
Look, you've got to always assume it's possible.
What?
That it's possible that you're being traced.
I'm not transmitting anything on this end.
Well, I'm certainly not on this end, so anyway, say what you want to say quick so I can't get...
All right, real quick before they shut me up, okay? The Greys, best theory is they originate here on Earth around the end of the Jurassic period. There was a fairly advanced civilization of humans, close enough to humans to breed, but the offspring is usually sterile. And they was particularly made to go out to planets, explore, and then come back, because nobody wanted to take a 200,000-year trip. And at the end of the Jurassic period, they started getting a little bit overpopulated.
Yes.
And started making some genetically engineering plants, specifically peanuts and other lettuces, began like that. And it spread further, and they started taking nitrogen out of the air, decreasing the atmospheric pressure.
Yes.
Which a lot of things called the dinosaurs started dying off. And that did another thing with corn.
So you're saying the Greys actually killed the dinosaurs?
Yes, because they're reducing the atmospheric pressure.
Well, I guess that would do it, wouldn't it?
Yes, a lot of the dinosaurs. If you look at the dinosaurs.
Well, listen, why are you worried they're tracing your call anyway?
What did you say?
I said, why are you worried they're tracing your call?
Well, I got the whine right here on my line.
I know, but I mean, why are you worried?
Well,
you haven't said anything yet that they would care about. We'll be right back.
So his theory was aliens made peanuts.
Peanuts and lettuce.
And lettuce. And it...
Yeah, he was going to say something about the corn, but he never got to say anything about the corn.
Well, the corn, too. Like, after this, those combination of plants wiped out the dinosaurs. So the Greys were here from a different world, and they didn't want to go back home because it was thousands of miles.
No, hold on. Maybe he meant peanut allergies. What if peanut allergies killed the dinosaurs?
Peanut allergies killed the dinosaurs. What about the lettuce, though? Not many people have lettuce allergies. Most people, they ate lettuce. That doesn't make any sense. Corn? I'm sure corn was around.
Yeah, but he was about to say something about the corn until he got cut off by Art there, man.
You're really upset about the corn.
Yeah, I want to know about the corn.
What do you think happened with the corn? Like, what do you think he was going to say?
I have no clue. I mean, it's all up in there. They could be hiding in the corn, you know.
Oh, maybe that's why they did a science movie with cornfields. Maybe that's
children of the corn. You know?
Yeah, maybe that's why when you go through a corn maze, it's very eerie.
Well, then you got high fructose corn syrup, which is bad for you.
Oh, okay. Wow. Maybe they're trying to kill us off like dinosaurs. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. Well, all right. Well, here's the next one where a caller calls in that he actually has worked for Area 51 for 15 years. And so...
this frequently, but let me read you yet another fax I have, and I will try making a call. All right? Art, I worked at Area 51 for 15 years and would like to talk to you about what really went on there. I worked in base ops. I'm also involved in the class action suit against the government. I can be reached tonight at the phone. It gives me a number, which, by the way, is a Nevada number, a work number. Please, he says, don't give out my number, which I certainly will not do. But I am now going to try to place a call.
He was so brave. Why would you call this guy? You know?
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. How often did he call them?
Very rarely.
He really believed this guy. For him, this must have been not the only fax he's gotten.
It would have been so funny if it was like a massage parlor.
to this gentleman, and we'll see if there's anything to it. There's nothing like radio on the fly, huh? Now let's see if we can get him. Hold on here. We'll try. Anything's worth a shot here. This may go nowhere at all, but his name is Fred, or he calls himself Fred. We'll see if he's really at the number he suggests he's at.
ABC?
Hello there.
Yeah?
Hello, ABC. Fred?
Yep.
This is Art Bell.
How you doing, sir?
Well, I'm doing just fine. I got a fax from you that says you worked at Area 51 for 15 years?
That's correct. So, what can I help you out with, sir? I've
You sent the fax, man.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, this call is probably the weirdest one I've ever seen or heard Art Bell do. Because it's like he's trying to fish for answers, and this guy's just like holding all his cards to his chest. Like, I know what you want to know, but I'm not going to tell you.
well, okay. Have you heard this one before?
Yeah, because you sent the link to it. Remember?
be the first to
I know you actually listened.
sort of contradict.
All right, let me start out by asking you, on your fax, and when you just now answered the phone, you said ABC.
Yeah, that's. Please, we need to not discuss anything further about trying to identify me by where I was. All right.
All right.
Yeah, this is another place I'm at now. So.
That's fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's discuss your 15 years at Area 51.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what you can and can't tell us, so I'll probe and you tell me when you can't answer.
Sure.
What kind of work did you do?
I was involved in the general day-to-day operations through the base ops, scheduling, things of that nature.
Really?
Yeah. Qualifying for using the airspace of the box, of course, Nellis Air Force Base. If something people don't really notice about that was we actually controlled the airspace on the whole range.
Oh, I'm well aware of that.
So do you think this guy was actually like, he said he did day-to-day stuff on the base. Do you think he was really in the know?
I don't know. I think here's the thing. If he's going to be a whistleblower, right, he should be more forthright, because if he is who he says he is, they're going to cross-reference. They're going to figure out who he is, right? Mm-hmm. So he should. I think this guy's just pulling Art's leg.
Maybe he worked at like one of the stations before the real station.
Could be.
How much airspace actually is controlled above Area 51?
That's difficult to say, but the box we're talking about was 10 by 10 miles by 10 miles.
Anybody familiar with aeronautic charts knows that is forbidden airspace.
Yes, so that's a fact. Yeah. Anyway, when we took you have to understand, we controlled the box. We allowed Nellis to use the range. When we were in the box, Nellis was off the range. When we were off the box, then Nellis could use the range for their red flag, things of that nature.
Okay.
And
during the years that you were at Area 51,
mm-hmm.
did you see anything that you had no rational explanation for, or that did not make sense in terms of technology that we would have developed?
Well, I happen to have been involved in some of the development of some of the projects that came out of there, so I'm not at liberty to discuss those. But nonetheless, we...
See, he says things like that, and it's like, I don't know if you really knew.
He's beating around the bush a lot. These type of people actually annoy the crap out of me.
I did.
So maybe. Maybe he was like the air traffic control guy, and that's as far as it went.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things.
It sounds like that.
Keep eluding, and if you keep talking to them,
it does sound like that, because he said I was in the box. He's probably talking about the tower.
There is a big lag time before something goes white world and when it's in development, and there's a big lag time in between the things that are spec'd out or scaled out and developed between the time that they even go from being scaled to full production, and then of course when they go from black to gray. Or
that's true, because we were saying like that before, like maybe these things that people have seen are military testing vehicles.
Well, see,
and maybe 10 years from now or 15 years from now, they'll be like, hey, look what we made. Kind of like they did with a couple things.
The terms that he's using, I've heard a lot of these terms used in cybersecurity, for example. Because you got whitelist, you blacklist, and
yeah, you're right.
And I just find it odd that he's using it for this. I've just never heard it used this way before.
Yeah, Art does kind of use the same terminology here in a little bit when he talks about something else. So,
or black to white world. There's a lot of time involved there, so I speculate that anything that I saw during the 80s, of course, had some time on it as far as development was concerned.
Okay, well, we know, for example, the F-117 Stealth was developed there and came out and then went gray and then went white, and we all know about the F-117, saw it fly in Iraq and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But that was a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what would you imagine? Maybe we can talk about this hypothetically. What would you imagine would be several generations down line from the F-117?
Well, there was different prototypes involved and everything out there, but none of them as mysterious as the things that are discussed on your program. I'm here to say that it wasn't a building, a facility that was there that wasn't out of my control, and that there was nothing mysterious about what went on there.
Then why are there things that you cannot talk about?
Oh, because they're classified military hardware, and they can't be discussed. It's that simple. It's just like before the 117 went white, it was not allowed to be discussed. There's nothing extraterrestrial or anything about the development of that airplane.
I understand.
Yeah.
Are there areas of within Area 51 that are underground?
No, absolutely not. There was one facility, a small bunker out there about as big as a basketball court, if that, and it was only underground to protect the instrumentation from RF interference.
Are there 3 large hangars at Area 51?
It's funny how Art's asking all these questions, like, because he's had people tell him that these are out there, that these exist.
Yeah, I'm going to call this guy and I'm going to say he's horseshit. No, here's what stuck out to me the most when he talks about all this stuff. He says he has all this control over stuff. That's bullshit. Anybody that works out there on any project, they're very
compartmentalized.
There you go. They're working on a set focus thing, and that's only that's what they're set there to do, and then they come back out.
Right.
Yeah, he's talking about, I know all of it. I'm like, no, you don't.
Maybe he just walked around like he was like the.
I think he was the guard that guy.
The Paul Bart of Area 51.
There's one huge hangar. There are a couple other small ones there, smaller than that, but generally speaking, the hangars are nothing bigger than what you could put a average jet fighter in, or something of that size.
All right. You're in Las Vegas, just over the hill from me. You know exactly where I am in Pahrump, right?
Oh, exactly.
Well, as we look over the hills toward Area 51 on many, many nights, we see, and it's well documented by Japanese camera crews, American camera crews.
Well, a few episodes ago, we listened to a video where Art said he saw a triangular aircraft fly over him and his wife in the same area.
Yeah.
Well, Art, he knew, he had an idea what was kind of going on over there. I mean, he was out in the middle of nowhere in Pahrump. I'm sure he sat outside and watched the sky a few times.
Yep.
So
amateurs, things that rise vertically and do dances in the sky that just simply are not done by any conventional aircraft we know about.
Yeah. Well, I'm here to tell you one thing. I've never in my life seen a vehicle which I considered otherworldly or anything like that until I did work up there. But during that particular time, there were 4 of us that were standing outside, and we actually saw 5 aircraft that looked like, not aircraft, but say things like a star, okay, in the sky.
Like a star.
Like a star, but it was at sundown. And I figured, well, maybe this might be a satellite, for instance. But there were 5 of them, and they were sort of 3 of them were abreast, 2 of them were trailing, and they went from horizon to say mid-horizon or vertical sky.
Yes.
In about maybe 15 to 20 seconds. And then we were looking at it and saying, boy, this is really something we've never seen anything quite like 5 satellites grouped like this. And then the 2 that were trailing did a 90-degree and went to the east.
Satellites don't do that.
And then the other 3 went directly over the southern horizon, and we all looked at each other. So we happened to have radio contact with the operations white room up there, and we contacted them and asked them to check the scope, see if anything was up, and there was nothing on the scope. So we looked at each other and said, well, that's kind of amazing. But anyway, what happened was about 30 seconds later, the 3 that went all over the south horizon came directly back and went to the north horizon. And they did that in about, like I say, 30 seconds, horizon to horizon. Absolutely no sound. Of course, the satellites don't do that either. So
no, they do not.
That was a very unusual thing I saw out of my entire 15 years of being there. And the rest of the stuff, I would have to say, was just highly classified military projects that needn't to be discussed in this forum. But there were absolutely no otherworldly.
Were you required when you left your employment there to sign?
Oh yes, a debriefing statement.
A debriefing statement, and were you to violate that?
Would I or have I?
No. I said, were you to violate it? To finish the sentence, what would be the repercussions?
I think it was a 10-year, 10,000, something like that was the bottom line on it. 10 years in jail, $10,000 fine max for divulging things like that.
So I know Death Row doesn't believe him. I kind of believe that he worked there. I have a feeling there's okay. Do you remember a few years ago when people tried to rush Area 51? They were going to climb the fence, right?
Oh, do the whole Naruto run.
Yeah, there was a fence. There was a fence, but that was people that worked military. That's just the first fence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you have that fence.
It's the decoy fence.
Yeah, decoy physics. Then you have this fence, and then you have another fence, and then you have a wall, and then that's where all the good stuff happens. I have a feeling he worked somewhere on the 1 or 2 fence.
Yeah,
and he did rounds.
He was the Barney Fife of Area 51.
Yeah, because if you were working on the inside, you would have to sign a non-disclosure before you went in.
That's what she said.
Sorry, I had to.
You got it. He would have to sign a non-disclosure before he even stepped foot on that place.
Yeah, I mean,
he
said he saw something though.
Not when you're leaving. When you're leaving, you have to. There's something else you saw, but yeah.
So maybe he saw something in the sky. What he described kind of sounded like what happened in Phoenix with the lights, and we saw some videos of that too.
And I'll tell you the reason I know some things about Area 51. I had an aunt that lived in Ohio that actually had to go there and work on it was the B-2 bomber at the time.
Yeah, see, that was another hidden vehicle or aircraft.
But she didn't know it was the actual B-2 until years later, because only she saw plans for the engine itself. She didn't see anything else. They wouldn't let her see anything else.
No, they do that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the reason I was like, this dude's like, oh yeah, I know everything about that place out there. I'm like, no, you don't. Nobody does because they're not going to allow you to know.
Well, from Lou, he was saying, they have, I don't know if it was at Area 51, but they have aircraft or spacecraft or whatever craft from things they can't identify. So, and I do think that, their work, whatever they're working on now, we'll probably see 20 years from now.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh, okay. Because remember when they described the triangular ships, aircraft, well, that looked like the stealth aircraft that you see, the F-117. So it's like,
and now you see the huge. You don't realize how big the B-2 is, for example.
Huge.
It's ginormous triangle.
Yeah, in the light, and if, at night, if you only see the lights and they're trying to hide it, and they don't have a lot of lights on it, it would look like a floating.
Yeah,
because it probably goes pretty slow.
And I imagine they had drone technology being used out there as well, which would be able to do 90-degree turns like that.
Yeah, and now you have drones. Everyone has one. It's like the internet did exist at one time before the public could even touch it, right? So, I was thinking about that. I've seen I don't know if you have all. I've seen a C-17 take off. If you know what a C-17 is, it's a very large cargo plane.
Yeah,
it takes forever.
Yeah,
so
and if you've ever been to Ohio, especially in the Dayton area, where they have the base there, they work on a lot of aircraft, and that's where my aunt used to live, and she would transfer out there on special projects.
Right.
And I've been to Ohio a couple of times, and I've seen planes stopped midair, and then they had the propulsion underneath, which just push them straight up, and then they go again.
Yeah, they have planes like that with the helipads and things. Again, maybe they were testing those out there.
Yeah. So,
and it's someone who doesn't know what they're looking at, and it's all blacked out, right? It would look kind of weird. But the things that were described in the earlier videos, where they're going like 3,000 Gs, or things are like they're finding bodies or something, that's a different story. I think there's a combination of things happening here.
Yeah.
But
and that goes back to the, like I said, the interdimensional thing.
Ooh, okay. You're still okay.
I mean, if you think about it, if it's shifting from one dimension to the next, what kind of speed would that look like?
Fast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
yeah. So before we wrap it up here, if you all, I don't know if you have any of you experienced anything where you're like, what was that in the sky? Where it was kind of unexplained.
I have not. I saw a really badass falling star one time that there was an amazing sight, but no, in terms of UAPs, I have not seen any.
Yeah, like I said, I was around when the Phoenix Lights happened. So that was kind of strange.
Yeah,
but I was kind of young, so wasn't too freaked out about it. I think my parents were a little more than I was, but
because that was too big, and there were too many people seeing it for it to be planes.
Well, a real famous actor, Kurt Russell, saw it from his house.
Yeah, he did. It was an interview with Letterman that he did. He's like,
he called police. Yeah, but I know exactly where he was, because when he described where he can see it from, I was like, oh, I know where you live. So he's on a he was on a mountainside. There's only a few mountains in Phoenix. Yeah, very cool. A lot of interesting stuff. I don't know if we'll ever know in our lifetime, unfortunately, what's going on.
Well, see, the only thing I've ever seen personally that was strange in the air was actually aircraft. It looked like military aircraft, though, but it was flying so close to the ground, it looked like it was going to land somewhere. Like it looked like it just came up out of the damn trees. It was so close to the. And and where I live, I was in the middle of pretty much nowhere. But then I had to look it up online, and I realized there used to be a military base nearby where I live, but it's supposedly not used anymore. And it kind of made me like, no, are they using it again or something? Or, you know,
You should go investigate it.
I thought about it, but I was like,
Get in the mystery machine and drive over there.
Yeah, yeah. We'll send you our van, and you you're part of our crew.
That's right.
Camera's on at all time. I have to get one of those vests with the GoPro in the middle.
Yep.
Right. Well, if thanks to everyone who joined us in the chat. It was really fun sharing this information with you, and I do appreciate you telling us what you do believe in. Also, if you do want to find the full hearing, it's about a 4-hour hearing. You could literally search for it on YouTube anywhere, and you'll find it if you want to listen to the whole thing. Also, if you want, and if you're new here, if you're watching after the recording, and you like this kind of stuff, make sure you subscribe. It'd be great. And I might take a break for the holidays in December. I'm not quite sure. It depends how everything falls in place. Thanksgiving's late this year, so it's kind of screws the calendar events. I don't know, but I know Jason could probably relate to this, maybe even Def. When you have a family and then Christmas comes around, there's like things you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Like over the river and through the woods. Got to go to Browns.
Things you got to do, and money you got to find to pay for all those things.
Yeah, I don't mind doing them. It's just you just have to change your priorities, right? So can't do UFO investigations in a really badass van during the holidays. Well, Jason,
just tell the wife you need this.
Not this month.
It's a tax write-off for your podcast. You can buy the van.
There you go.
I you know what? Yeah, maybe. Jason, I know you're really pushing hard on to 10K.
Yeah.
Want to go ahead and kind of explain that a little bit?
Yeah. So my comic book is Jupiter. It's 40 pages full color. I'm on the way to 10K. This past week, we actually crossed the $9,500 mark. So we're on our way to 9,600, eventually to get to 10K. This is Jupiter. If you like superheroes and surrealism, you're going to love this. 40 pages, full color. Order shipped the following day. It's only $13 for 40 pages, full color. And I do some homage to Jack Kirby in this book, as well as my own art style. Please check it out and take a look. If you go to my Twitter, it's got links to the campaign. And I'm hard at work on Jupiter issue 2. In fact, I'll show you a little sneak peek. This is the first page of Jupiter number 2. There's the second page of Jupiter number 2. It's not completely colored. It's not completely done, but I am hard at work. I'm having a great time. Issue 2 will launch sometime in probably Q2 of 2025. It's my very own project 2025. So stay tuned for that.
And again, they can find you on Indiegogo, or they can also find you on your X account, which is all in the description below.
Yep.
And Defro, I don't know if we're hanging out on Monday. And after the weekend yet. We haven't decided yet. But
well, if you want to do a Christmas special of some sort, let me know. I have a movie that we could watch.
Last time you recommended a movie, things went really bad. So
not that bad. We got a laugh out of it.
Yeah, if you want to find an interesting watch, go to After the Weekend and go find our review of Troll 2. That is one of the best and not best reviews I've ever done. Anyways, Def, what do you got coming up on your channel with your out of the world movie reviews?
Yeah, I'm going to be probably posting on Sundays now, and I'm looking at a movie called Wilder Napalm is the name of the movie. It's got Ashley. What's his name? Just went blank out of my mind. The guy's name.
Did you?
He just recently did the Ronald Reagan movie.
Oh, Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid.
Yes. Dennis Quaid is in this movie, and it's I think it was early '80s movie, so it's pretty early Quaid, but yeah, I can't wait to watch that one and do a review of that one because it's not very well known, but it is kind of a the way it's shot. It reminds me of Raising Arizona in a lot of ways.
It's a good one.
So,
yeah, if you're looking for some obscure movies that you most probably haven't heard of, Death Bro will definitely show you them on his channel. I think they're great. All right, gentlemen, you all have, if I don't hear from you before Thanksgiving, you all have a great Thanksgiving. Everybody in the chat, you do as well. Don't eat too much turkey, or you'll like roll down the street and people might think you're a UAP. So, all right, everyone, you have a good night and we'll see you later. Thanks again.
See ya.
Here we go.